You are now listening to the Pelicans post-game report. Flash report.
Shout out to the fam tuning in for this episode of the Pelican post-game report for all things Pelicans. I'm your host, Big Q. Listen, fam, let's talk Pels right quick in this quick flash report. Man, listen, we're going to cover this article right here, of course, with Brandon Ingram. This one comes by way of the Clutch report and Clutch Points, actually, and just several other media operations that were talking about this. And this is something that was released and talked about early on. Today is the BI's Cryptic post. Man, let's cover it on this installment of the Pelican post-game report, flash report. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We up in this thing. Now, BI's drops Cryptic post about value, quote, value, end quote, amid Pelican contract drama. Let's delve into it for those who probably haven't heard about it. That BI's newest Instagram post has Pelicans on notice. Why? Because Brandon Ingram has ignited some speculation about his future with the Pelicans. In this recent Instagram post, Ingram shared a clip from a motivational speaker discussing the importance of recognizing one's value, which may interpret as a subtle hint at his dissatisfaction with the current situation in New. Let's listen to the quick tweet that Brandon Ingram said, man, and here it is.
Cannot stay in environments where people don't know the true value of you. If you stay in environments where people don't recognize the value of you, you will shrink your gift to the size of what they can stand.
So anyway, let's get back into the article, man, after we kind of went over the reality of what happened is many fans or family members took this as Ingram's expressing negative feelings about how the Pelicans are doing business. It's seemingly just another taxing price to pay for a small market team trying to hold together a fringe NBA playoff contender. The front office has to do more long-term math when it comes to making the franchise-altering decisions. Now, how the NBA's max dollar money is doled out has changed under the new CBA, and it is used to be that average approximately 21.6 assists and 5 rebound players before hitting mid-20s was a surefire path to a premium deal. Even one-time All-Star with a slight stubborn streak could expect relatively smooth negotiations. The market changes have been significant and fully understood by several parties this summer. Jalen Brunson settled for $113 million less from the Knicks to ink a 4-year, $157 million deal. For instance, Ingram is entering the final year of his 5-year, $158 million contract with the Pelicans. New Orleans is also looking at another, and this is a big caveat to while there's hesitancy to pay him that, because they're looking, behind him in terms of prospect wise, being that Zion's the centerpiece of the team, at Trey Murphy, who could possibly, this is another $200 million going to Trey Murphy soon, despite Ingram's consistent production, averaging over 23 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.2 assists per game over the last 5 seasons with the Pelicans. The franchise has yet to offer him the maximum contract he seeks. Now, reports suggest that Ingram is looking for a 4-year, $208 million deal. The Pelicans, who do not want Ingram to return by all accounts, are likely far more comfortable with $170 million mark. It is not an insult, but just a market-informed financial calculation. Now, there are ways Ingram and the Pelicans can bridge the gap. However, it's hard to deny that Ingram's Instagram post has certainly stirred the pot, bringing attention to his value as a player and his future in New Orleans is a way to send a message. The unresolved issue of Ingram's contract and apparent dissatisfaction will naturally lead into trade speculations as the new NBA season looms. All eyes are now back on Griffin to handle the headache before the training camp tips off. Now, by all indications, I don't believe at all that David Griffin will do anything about this. I think he'll just play this to the left. And this is what's going on right now. B.I.'s not happy here, even though Griffin said that he's not. That was his way of trying to spin the situation because he couldn't move him. Now, whether that was because the Pelicans wanted too much for him or Brandon Ingram's contract per year, $50 million requests for other teams, regardless of the situation, he is here uncomfortably for this year. So with that being said, it's only 2 ways the situation is going to end, in my estimation. Number one, the Pelicans are going to trade him prior to February the 6th, which is the trade deadline, or they simply allow him to stay on the team and let his contract expire, similar to what happened with Jonas Valanciunas. Now, these are the only two ways that this is going to happen. It's very refined. But in terms of Willie Green coaching and bringing this incredibly talented team, because the Pelicans have several different ways they can approach coming at you this upcoming season, to be quite honest with you, in terms of lineups and all that kind of stuff. They have shooters, they got guys that can all kind of stuff. I just don't want to get too far into it on the flash report. They're an incredibly unique team. Now they do have they don't have a starting level center, a long-term range option that's ready to go right now. That's why Daniel Tice and Yves Missi. And then you look at guys like Karlo Mekovic and possibly Trey Jemison. These guys, depending on how the imagination of the team or the IQ of the team's head coaching, could be able to kind of use these guys and however they feel like they need to use them. But we kind of know that Pelicans favor small ball, and perhaps that is something that they'll seek into doing. And this is something that Griffin and even Willie Green said. So they have a way to move this stuff around. But listen, be that as it may, the Brandon Ingram situation will be a cloud over the top of this team. This is something Willie Green, the head coach of the Pelicans, and I've been saying this before, is under immense pressure to get beyond the 49 wins that he accomplished last year and get into the playoffs. And the Pelicans, rightfully so, last year finished with 49 wins. With better coaching, they could have had at least 50 wins of the 0-23 clutch time losses that they had last season. If you take half of that, that makes the Pelicans it makes them a 60-win team last year. And things were not getting even so easier for them going into this upcoming season with all of the teams that are deep in the West. Now, Willie Green in his fourth year has to improve everything about his game, including his relationship in terms of how to get these players in and on the court, making sure the lineups are correct and stand on top of his game. Very pivotal season for Willie Green with the cloud of Brandon Ingram looming over the top of the team. So we'll see how all this shakes and folds going forward, man. But this is very interesting, to be honest with you, fam. Very interesting indeed. And also, before we leave, a bit of a bonus news for you guys here to talk about. Pelicans forward Zion Williamson, eye-popping admission from the Great Wall of China. Now, we know that the Jordan brand has several players out in China. Zion Williamson is one of them, and we've shown that you've seen him spinning around on the floor, dunking the ball, playing pickup games with the Chinese people. Now, the Pelicans are far from the NBA title contender in most people's eyes, but what they lack in rubber stamps from taking heads, they make up for pure, unmitigated potential. Zion Williamson is the poster child for the Pelicans' NBA title hopes. Now, jovial, still quite young and bursting with potential, Williamson is far from an NBA neophyte, but he's also far from an established championship level player. On Friday, the essence of Zion Williamson was captured in a single video. The ex-Dookie found himself walking the brick and stone road of the Great Wall of China, enjoying every second along the way. He talked about the sense of inner peace his journey brought him as he continued along the way, stopping to take a deep breath and bring the audience along with him for the journey. Now listen to this. This is Zion Williamson, man, from a post that was put up about him in China on which is a marvel, man. I've never been there, but I've seen pictures and videos of the Great Wall of China. It's just unbelievable, the architectural feat that it was and more. But here's Zion Williamson experience. Here we go.
This would definitely be. If I lived here, this would definitely be my escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day, every other day.
Every other day. I would at least try to come here once a week if I lived here.
All right. So,
like, how can you come out here? You can be dealing with anything. Like, if you come out here, this is peace. This is what peace looks like.
word. That's crazy.
This is amazing.
Just think about how they view it.
It's like that raw, primitive feeling, man.
Every single month. Just taking it in.
Basketball brought me here, dude.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
You wanna do a middle? Yeah, fair one.
All right, Zion Williamson, fam. Now, this is the thing about Zion, man, that a lot of people, we've said this before, and I won't make this a long drawn out flash report, but we've said this before about Zion Williamson on PPR. The reality is everything's based upon Zion Williamson in terms of how good the Pelicans are and getting into the future. If Zion Williamson, he played 70 games for the Pelicans last year, which is by far the most in his young career. If Amy Atmore, shout out to Amy Atmore, who is she is the only physical therapist they have, but she's done a wonderful job with Zion Williamson, get him ready for this upcoming season. He's in terrific shape, according to many people. We've seen some of the photos of Zion Williamson. If he's in a great, healthy shape coming into the season, and this is where we want him to be, because it'll be based how far the Pelicans can go. If Zion Williamson is 100% healthy going into the playoffs, the Pelicans are a dangerous club, especially if they have shooters around them and these guys are healthy and the core guys are healthy. Zion Williamson is the Pelicans are a different team. They're a force. Like when the Pelicans played the Lakers, if you see on the screen in the playing game, Zion Williamson was dominating them. LeBron and Anthony Davis couldn't do anything with Zion Williamson. When he finally kind of stepped wrong, that kind of really kind of took him out of action. And then once that, the Pelicans totally lost all the momentum and they ultimately ended up losing that game. But the Pelicans were well on their way to beating the Lakers in that matchup. They were pissed off about the drubbing that they got a few games earlier, and they were on their way to make rectify that wrong. And ultimately he got hurt. But everything's based on Zion Williamson. The 6'6", 284-pound Williamson will team with B.I. and Coach Willie Green this season in hopes of taking a monumental leap forward in his game. Williamson is not quite a first-team All-NBA player just yet, but he has the potential. His mindset is paramount for this upcoming season. Williamson, shown in the Great Wall of China video, is a picture of a young player who's realizing the value of stillness. He knows that the little things a player does mentally that will set him apart from the competition. Williamson needs to take the big step forward this year for the Pelicans to advance farther in the playoffs. He also played on raw emotion and intensity, which has left his gas tank empty and his aching, at times injured body on the bench at times. A smarter move, more chilled out and relaxed Zion Williamson can change everything. The more rest Williamson gets mentally, the fresher he will be for the games that really count. Coach Willie, Brandon Ingram, and the rest of the Pelicans need that version of Zion. One of the NBA's greatest talents. Many family members still get the feeling that he hasn't come close to living up to his potential. Together, whether fair or not, now is the time for Zion to complete his offseason training. Whether he trains like a madman or a monk, the Pelicans and their family members and supporters will be waiting to see this finished product. Very well written article that talked about Zion Williamson, his move, the next step to the next level. And you got to see it happen. And this has been taking a long time, because ultimately you start to really realize that the Pelicans, my goodness, are a team that is with Zion Williamson. They are a total different unit. Like as it stands right now, if he's healthy and all these other guys are around him and they're playing inspired basketball, the Pelicans, man, whether you agree with me or not, are probably a top 3, top 4 team in the West, maybe top 5. I don't want to go too crazy with it, but it's all based on him. If everything runs the way it's supposed to, my goodness, this could be a very, very serious and deadly and serious and scary proposition for the rest of the NBA, to be honest with you, man. All right. So anyway, with that being said, man, we're going to cut out on that. I'd like to thank all you guys for being patient and listening to me on this episode of Flash Report by PPR. Y'all do me a service, man. If you like the stream, please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. PPR for all things Pelicans. Shout out to DC and Lex, my co-host, man. Listen, we're going to holler at you guys on the next one. Much love and go Pels.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.